All right. What is going on, guys? Pre-workout pondering. Got my pre mixed up. Ready to go hit this pool day we were talking about yesterday. I'm going to come over here to a gym and get some back out of the way and get some biceps out of the way, rear delts, traps, forearms, all your pool movements, basically. Hence the name pool day. Um, it's hot today. It's a Saturday. Roll to the gym about 2 o'clock in the afternoon. It's a good time to go, middle of the day, You get up and sometimes, man, I like to get up and be there early and kill it and start the day off right, you know what I'm saying? And it's important, it helps, because I can definitely tell, like I'm pumped up after, I'm ready to tackle the day and attack anything that, I need to do for the day. But days like this are nice as well. Got up, went out with my buddies or my brothers, and we went and did a couple things and ran some errands and stuff. So kind of took a more relaxed approach to the day. But sometimes, it's what you need, a little bit of reset, a little bit of difference. Something a little different. Change up the schedule a little bit. You got to shock the system, right? A lot of times the routine is good and the routine is helpful. Sometimes, man, you need to get in there. You need to shock the system. You need to restart. Reset. Something a little different. That's where a lot of times, that growth is, not just in muscles, but in in yourself, in your life. Sometimes we get into like habits and routines, and we're like, why is things not working? I'm staying consistent and stuff, but sometimes you're not consistently doing the right things. Sometimes you need to flip that switch, turn a different way, go a different route. You know what I'm saying? Even if it's just for a day or two, just something just kind of new. Like, okay, I've been going to a different gym lately. And today I'm actually going back to the gym that I've been going for since I started. But been going to a different gym right here, maybe the past week and a half, 2 weeks. But gives you something different, kind of different scenery, change of machines, change of exercise and stuff like that, kind of, giving my body something different to tackle and to get after. And it's not just about, I'm not saying there's necessarily a better muscle growth factor, but mentally, mentally you're growing because you're opening your mind and your body up to different, challenges and different segments and ways to do things and places to be at, and kind of shock you a little bit. So sometimes it's good to have that kind of difference. Um, I feel like a lot of people kind of get into like a pretty much, I like things this way. I want things this way. Doom, 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 doom. They want it very organized, very neat. And that's good. And I like being organized and neat myself. But, if you're always doing the same thing, you're never really growing. You got to step out of that comfort zone and chase something that you're not used to doing. You got to jump in that ice bath, or hop in that sauna. There's something a little different. It might not even be something that's beneficial. Like I said, it might not even be beneficial for muscle growth, but mentally, are you continuously mentally growing? But that's kind of what you want to be after, guys. That constant growth, that 1% better in your mind. That's where it is. That's where the key to a lot of this stuff is that your body, physically you can only go but so far. If your mind's at a certain place, but whenever you unlock your mental potential and you build that mental fortitude and that mental toughness, you can go farther than you thought you could. you know, and you got to be able to tap into that. And the only way to get that is by putting your brain in those situations, by pushing your mind and pushing your limits and being uncomfortable. I'm not talking about a little bit. I'm talking about really uncomfortable. I'm talking about putting yourself like you're like, good gracious, I don't want to be here. I want to get out. You know, you got to put yourself in those kind of environments where things are different, things are hard, genuinely, you know, genuinely hard, genuinely difficult, because that's how you're growing. You know, and you're not gonna if you got to take a test. You know, if you just kind of, you know, mingle around this, that, and the other, you know, you're not really going to get it doing your same routine. You got to go above and beyond. You want to really study problems that are going to be harder than what's going to be on the test, because then you know you're ready. And if you study problems that you think is similar to the test, maybe a little easier, maybe about the same, you know, what if they do throw a question that's super hard? You're not going to be ready. You know, but if you're constantly pushing past what you're required to do, taking that initiative and putting in that effort and that drive and that focus and that willpower, then, you know, you're going to surpass whatever is in front of you. But you got to be training for the next thing. You know, if you got a task in front of you, you need to be training for the harder one next. You'll blow right through that one. You'll be ready for the next one. You know, guys, don't get the idea that everything has to be a certain way. You know, I tell you like this. I used to do a lot of running. Back when I was doing some military stuff at one point, and I was doing a lot of running, and I used to be really bad about. I wanted to I'd go out there and start my run at like a certain time. I was in college, and like I'd go start running at I don't know. Let's just say I was gonna go start running at 7 o'clock. Okay. Okay. Well, if something happened or I was, you know, getting late or whatever, and it was like 7:03, I'll wait till 7:30. 7:33. Okay, 8 o'clock. You know what I'm saying? So don't get in your mindset that you have to be specific and orderly to the point where it holds you back. You know, to the point where you're using that as an excuse, because really and truly you just don't really want it to run. You don't really want to do it. You know, don't worry about the time. You know, you got to get out there and lace them up, hit the ground running. You know, and I feel like a lot of people, you kind of see that. You know, everybody's like, oh, you gotta follow all this stuff, and obviously tracking your food is very important. I'm very big on tracking my foods and calorie in, calorie out, all that stuff. But if you get so focused and set on, you know, oh, I have to have this many calories for this meal and this many for that meal and this many for that meal, and then you feel like you go above on your let's just say that, you know, you get 700 for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Let's just say that. So then let's say you eat, you know, you eat 785 for lunch, and you're like, oh, it's out of the window. I screwed it up today. Maybe tomorrow. You know, don't, you know, be able to adapt and be able to say no. Dinner, I'm only going to eat, you know, 685 or 625, whatever it is, 615. You know, so you got to be able to adapt to your own mishaps and your own failures and your own, you know, laziness. But that's that laziness, man. It creeps into your brain, and hey, you know, just, oh man, you missed the time. Just wait, you know, or you messed this up. Just try again tomorrow. You know, no. You can always continue to put your best effort in, even if you slip up a little bit. Pick yourself back up and find a way to fix it. You know, if you ate 250 calories over your deficit for the day and you're trying to lose weight, that doesn't say, oh, I'll just wait till tomorrow. No, get out there, get on the treadmill, get on the ground and start running and burn 250, 300 calories and get back right where you're supposed to be. You know, don't just push it off and, oh, I just wait till tomorrow. I just, whatever. That is that other side that you're trying to get away from, you know, by doing these things and trying to make yourself better. You know, you're trying to escape your former self. You're trying to beat your former self. You're trying to beat that bad mindset of, oh, be comfortable, just sit inside, eat a little ice cream, mess around, just be lazy. You're trying to fight that off, okay? And that voice that comes in is like, oh, it's 7:05. You just go start running at 7:30, or oh, you ate a little over. Just worry about it tomorrow. That is that same voice. It's just adapting to what you're doing, and it's still trying to get you. It's still trying to get after you, and it's still trying to mess you up. You got to recognize that, guys. You got to be able to say, no, I'm going to do it, no matter what time it is. I'm gonna fix my deficit if I mess it up. I'm gonna, work harder. I'm gonna, oh, I missed my lift. I didn't go work out in the morning like I was supposed to. I'm gonna go afterward, even though it sucks. I've done that before. Sometimes I've skipped a morning workout and I'm like, oh, I'm just gonna go after work. You know, and then as the day comes on, I'm like, oh, I can't really go. You better figure out a way to go. You know, don't let that weakness in your mind, man. It messes with you bad. It crawls in there and it gets you, man. And it's hard, man. It's a hard thing to do, especially when that voice manifests as people. Like I said, guys, I'm going on another vacation next weekend. Got some stuff to do going up, and they don't have a Planet Fitness. Like, dang, I bought the Planet Fitness to use on vacations. The nearest Planet Fitness like an hour away. Well, they got another gym 10 minutes away. So I'm gonna buy a day pass there, a couple of day passes there, and I'm gonna work out while I'm gone 3 or 4 days. You know, and then people telling me, "Come on, man, it's just one weekend, just miss it." No, you can't let those thoughts creep in. I'm not gonna miss it. I'm not gonna screw myself up. Why would I hinder myself to be comfortable? You know, you don't want to. You can't let that voice creep in, man. That voice sometimes it's our girlfriend, sometimes our boyfriend, sometimes it's our parents, our coworkers, our brothers, our families, our sister, everybody. Sometimes it's ourselves, sometimes it's you, and it's trying to hold you back. But you got to be able to push forward and bring forth the success that you want and that you're striving for. You know, we all have reasons why we're trying to do this, whether it's for ourselves, whether it's for other people, whether it's for, you know, success, whether it's for our families, whether it's for our future, all these different things and reasons. And we have to make sure that you don't want to not get where you go and look back and say, man, I was myself. I let that inner voice crap me out of what I was trying to do. Let it talk me out of it. Guys, you don't want to, that feeling of regret, awful. It'll eat you alive, to keep you up at night. So you got to fight that. You got to shock the system. You got to get back out there, change things up, push forward. Even if your schedule's messed up, who cares? Get after it. You don't need a schedule. You just need to do it. That's kind of something that I feel like some people need to hear, man. I feel like it's something that, some days I need to hear that. The best thing you can do is get out there and try and put forth the effort and do it. It's okay if you're falling down, man. A righteous man falls 7 times but gets up 8. And that's important. You're constantly getting back after it and working hard and putting forth that will, that spirit, that fight. This week, guys, I want you all to think about these things that we're talking about. Think about something, reply in the comments. Anything else you'd like me to elaborate on or talk about, or any questions you guys have, or any points you guys would like to make about what I'm talking about. Take this week and look at your life. Have you guys been, messing things up? Have you guys been kind of missing a little bit and letting your schedule, letting your normal routine of things hold you back? If you miss a morning workout, it's okay to go in the evening. You don't have to wait till the next day. If you eat a little too much calories in one meal, eat a little less, or go get a workout in, burn some calories. I encourage you guys to do these things and to do whatever it takes to have some ownership in your life and put in that effort that you deserve to have and work hard. Hope you guys have a good week. You guys like these videos, man, leave a like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. That way you guys will know when I got something else coming in for y'all. Like I said, I'd love some feedback. Love any Q&As we got. And we're going to come in here and hit this pool day. A little different time than normal, but that's all right. We're going to get it in anyways. We hit this pool day, finish this pre-workout, and see you guys tomorrow.